What is up, and welcome into the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann. I'm joined, as always, by my outstanding co-hosts. He's a Chicago Public League legend, a Simeon legend. He's a Grambling State legend. He was all SWAC back in the day for the Tigers. He plays second base there. He's Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Coach Smoke. And we've got the NFL draft analyst for NBC Sports Chicago. You can catch all this work at NBCSportsChicago.com and the My Teams app. He is Glenn Morgan. He's our GM. Gentlemen, what's going on? How you guys doing?
Doing good, man.
Doing good, man. Been a whirlwind last couple of weeks, man. My wife graduated, got her master's. My daughter got her bachelor's. My nephew got married. My other daughter made her sweet 16th birthday. And that was just the last 2 weeks.
Busy.
That's why we haven't had a show in a couple of weeks. Okay,
all on me.
All right.
I take full responsibility. And I got one more graduation next month, so it's been a busy house. It's been a busy household.
Yeah, busy spring and summer coming up here for you. That's awesome. All right. Well, let's get started, man. We got a lot to talk about. I think the most pertinent subject out there right now is what happened this weekend with the White Sox and the Yankees in New York. A ho-hum series that we expected the Yankees to, I think, annihilate the White Sox at Yankee Stadium turned into a bit of a between Tim Anderson and Josh Donaldson. We know Josh Donaldson tried to get under Tim Anderson's skin by calling him Jackie in reference to Jackie Robinson. There was some words exchanged during the game, and then Josh Donaldson came up to bat, and Yasmani Grandal got in Donaldson's face and gave him the business for it, and they had a little bench clearing. But I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts, man. This is something, Donaldson's been a problem for a while now, and I guess the way that he used the word Jackie, some are saying that it was in a racial context. What do you guys think about
that? Being the elder statesman of the three of us. Actually, I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. Being the old guy, I remember when Jackie was playing. No, it's tough, man, because on the surface, initially, reactively, yes, I thought that's what it was. I thought it was like really, dude, like you're gonna go Jackie Robinson? Like there's a lot of shortstops. Actually, Jackie was a second baseman, but there's a lot of middle infielders between Jackie Robinson and Tim Anderson who played the game. Who you could say, Tim is trying to pattern himself after. Why would you go, and by you I mean Josh Donaldson, why would you immediately go to someone who broke the color, the color line, the color barrier back in the mid 1940s? Why would you do that unless you were trying to, in a coded way, say something, insinuate something, and get into a guy's head? And
Tim Anderson was quoted in a Sports Illustrated article from 2019, basically comparing himself to Jackie Robinson.
Right.
And I think the quote was by some taken out of context. He was talking about how, yes, Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier and changed the game. And Tim was saying that, hey, we're in a situation now where there are not a lot of African Americans that are playing the sport. So he's trying to make it fun and to get awareness out there so that and using programs like, Coach Smoke works with the ACE program with the White Sox and RBI baseball, and using those platforms to bring awareness to the game to young African Americans.
Right. Undoubtedly. That's exactly what TA means in referencing Jackie Robinson's legacy, that he sees the importance of that. That's something he wants to carry on. And that's what that whole interview and that bit he did, what he basically is relating to. And that's why I said initially, when it comes to Josh Donaldson saying, and as a fan initially, not knowing that that's what Tim did at the moment that this happened, Josh Donaldson comes across as though it may have been contextualized in a coded kind of way. And it's difficult in this time and age to not give that some credence because of how things are in the society. And unfortunately, sometimes what we tend to do, we means people, human beings, I'm part of the human race. Sometimes we tend to stereotype individuals. And when you look at Josh Donaldson and you know his history of being an agitator, he kind of fits, as they would say, the profile. You know, he kind of comes out of central casting as another compatriot of mine had said, to where he seems to be the sort that says that kind of thing in the coded kind of way. And then also you keep in mind that recently, last week or the last time the Yankees and the White Sox played, the little kerfuffle at third base when he kind of kneed him in the neck a little bit and try to push
pulled him off the bag
to try to get him out. Now that, to me, that's just a baseball play. It's just being,
that's uncalled for. You don't have to do that.
No, that's
you talking about when he dropped down to get the tag?
Yeah, that's
right. And pushed him off the base.
Yeah, that's baseball.
So I didn't see it initially, and then when I saw it, I'm like, man, see,
people are come on, man. You were pushing guys off second base.
He didn't push him off the bag though.
He did.
He kind of let his
he came down hard on him to drop the tag. Now, did you? It's another play. It was a game. I forgot who it was.
World Series.
No, it was a game recently. Okay. I'll send you all the video where a guy running the third base, he slid, the defensive player dove behind him, which momentum took the player off the bag, and the fielder kept the tag on. The ump called the guy out.
Right.
This literally just happened like the other day. What Donaldson did to Tim wasn't.
No,
I didn't see nothing.
The ump went to Donaldson and said, "You pushed him off the bag."
Yes,
you can't do that.
That's to me. That was baseball.
That was with his momentum, though.
No,
like he didn't push. The play I saw, maybe I'm looking at the wrong play. The play I saw, it looked like he came down hard on him to put the tag on him, and I could see how Tim would get upset about it. But at the end of the day, he wasn't. I don't think he was doing nothing malice.
No, I agree with you. To me, it was just being aggressive. And I could see AJ Brzezinski sometimes doing something a little extra. Mm-hmm. I remember there was one of the World Series games. It was the Twins. I forget who the Twins were playing. It might have been the Braves or somebody.
Ken Herbeck pulled his arm, pulled the guy's arm. It was
right.
Was it Otis Nixon? Maybe
I think it was Otis Nixon.
Nixon. Yeah, he pulled his arm off the bag, and they called him out.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I remember that.
To me, that's just that's stretching and bending and see how far I can get away with something. In baseball, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So to me, I didn't take that as a personal thing. That was just more him just being an aggressive agitator, but trying to make a play, get a guy at third base. And if I can get away with it, great. If not, then fine. But again, without getting too far away and too tangential a thing, initially, it seemed like it could have been racially motivated. Now, like what you said is that everything with TA and that interview we had, now it comes across as this Josh Donaldson was just more or less poking fun at him, but not quite understanding how that could be problematic or how that could be seen in a certain way, because he doesn't seem to me, he being Josh Donaldson, to be the most astute person when it comes to cultural awareness or caring about anything other than what Josh Donaldson cares about. So it becomes muddled now. Was it racially insensitive? Probably. Was it racially motivated? That is debatable. But there's a racial component there, and ergo a problem. And maybe that's why baseball, MLB just suspended him for one game and not more, because it's difficult to find the intent behind it. But I don't know. You're the baseball guy. You're the resident Yankee fan, Brandon. So how do you see things?
Okay, so disclaimer: yes, I'm a Yankee fan. I am a Yankee fan that is not a fan of Josh Donaldson. Never have been. I never liked him when he was with the Blue Jays. I never liked Josh Donaldson.
He's only played what 30 games with the Yankees so far, right? 30-something games.
Yeah, so he ain't a real Yankee yet. But I've never been a fan of him. I've always had an issue with him. So when this initially happened, and as a Yankee fan, I am a huge TA fan though. huge TA fan. So when this first happened, I had the same reaction as GM. I went on social media. I'm as a Yankee fan, F Josh Donaldson. I'm livid, because like you said, initially it comes off as that kind of, connotation to it.
Yeah.
And then some of my guys like who are Sox fans, who are Tim Anderson fans, who don't like the Yankees came to me like, well, Tim did reference himself as Jackie Robinson. And I'm like, wait, huh? I'm like, when? I never heard that.
Right.
Like, yeah, he did. And they like, and he, Donaldson, who, I mean, although it could be a lie, but he said he's joked with him times about that before, and I'm like, well, okay, now I'm conflicted. Now I'm like, so my thing was more so, and I had this back and forth with my mom. She like, he shouldn't have said it. Even if they joke around about it and he shouldn't have said it in that moment. I'm like, well, no. I'm like, if Tim allowed him to say it and let it slide, Tim can't be mad when things get heated and he say it. I'm like, no. I'm like, no.
We don't know
Tim,
if that's true though.
But I know, and I said, and I preface everything on if that's true, if that's the truth behind it, because my thing is, a lot of people were saying like, well, in baseball, you know how it is with black players, they gotta always keep their cool and all. No, if a person say something to you racially insensitive and you find it insensitive, you need to check them right then and there. You don't hold your tongue. That way, when it comes out like this, it ain't a confusion like, oh, wait, was Tim allowing him to say this in a funny way? They joked about it, and now all of a sudden he's mad. Like what? So, I mean, it's still a lot of unanswered questions to this. I do kind of think I don't think Donaldson was being racist in his comments, but I do think he was being racial. If
racially insensitive.
Yeah, insensitive. I think he was, poking fun, like he said, but naive, not understanding how that could be taken. Like in his mind, he probably think, oh, I'm comparing you to a guy we honor every year, Jackie Robinson. Like you should be honored. Like that's how sometimes they think.
I don't think he was poking fun. I think he intentionally and if there was a racial component. I don't know if you can call him a racist for doing it. That's but there's a racial component there, and he knew what he was doing. He was trying to get under Tim's skin by saying that.
Definitely that. Yeah, I think it's like
that was purposeful.
Yeah, and when I say poking fun, I'm not saying like he expected Tim to laugh at him after he said it. I think he was trying to agitate him.
And I think and Tim said he said it to him in the first. And he did, saying he shook it off, whatever. Then he did it again. I guess that was at the fifth inning, or when was that? Whenever it was. He said it again, and that's what that's when he said something to him. They had their back and forth on the field there. So maybe he took it one time and shook it off, and then he had enough, and that's when we know that for certain. So
like I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go. You got it.
And again, I'm not going to try and make excuses for him or whatever. Just like let's say I'm Josh Donaldson for a moment, and when I say, nice tag, Jackie. It's kind of like you wish you were Jackie Robinson. Like if I said like, man, dude, I'm balling like Michael Jordan, you'd be like, yeah, all right, Mike. Like, sure. Right. I see it as kind of like that. The problem is, however, and this is where the ignorance comes in, and this is where, and again, I'm not trying to turn our show into a complete social, economical, societal situation, although that's a part of life, and we do this show and we reflect those things, and sports is a microcosm of the world. But that's where, when you don't have that education, that exposure in school growing up, You know, it's not in your curriculum. It's not in your neighborhood. It's not taught by your parents or your exposure in your community because you don't live around people of various ethnicities. That's when you say something like that, and you, Josh Donaldson, being the you in this case, doesn't realize that that remark is trivializing everything Jackie Robinson did just as a player like TA could play. So that when TA is like, really, like, dude, like you don't understand what that means. Like you poking fun, like you minimizing the struggle. And right now, you know, as far as African Americans, not necessarily people of color who are dark skinned and black, because you can be black and be a Dominican, but people of African American, as far as American born black athletes, it's only like 7.2%. It's only like 70 out of like 900 in the whole baseball. And Tim is like the only one on this. Well, before Harrison got there, Tim was the only one on the team. And Tim talked about how culturally, like, yeah, baseball stuff is cool. They're cool with everything, you know, conversationally. But culturally, baseball wise, being the only black person on the team for a number of years, he said that was tough. So when Josh Donaldson makes that comment, it trivializes and minimizes, and it goes to an issue that's can be painful and on a different level than Josh Donaldson maybe even intended or thought that he would have intended. That even Josh, he's not even probably not even aware of how he's trivializing that, but that's still a problem. And that's the problem, that's still a problem.
Yeah, because that's the thing to it. It's like, if Tim never referenced himself as Jackie Robinson, do Donaldson ever even say that?
Probably not.
Probably not.
You get what I'm saying?
Probably
like,
not.
And even with him calling himself Jackie, would have Donaldson called him Ozzy? Would we have the same mindset of it? We wouldn't, because it's all about, like you said, what Jackie Robinson went through, what he meant to the game of basketball for black people. So for you to call him, of all people, the first black player to play the game, it does seem like, okay, it's a, like you said, it's a million black shortstops
Right.
in between there that you could have referenced, but you referenced Jackie Robinson. And like I said, it's mainly because Tim he didn't call himself Jackie Robinson. He just referenced what he's trying to do for baseball in current day to, you know, what Jackie Robinson did in the past. So it's a tricky situation. I mean,
I'll say this:
some bull crap,
right?
Overall,
it's some bull crap. It's disrespectful.
It's disrespectful, and we done lost 3 goddamn straight after this. Baseball guys do not like foolishness, man.
Notice that there hasn't been a lot of Donaldson's teammates coming to his defense.
They don't like him.
Yeah,
they don't like him.
They know he's a jag.
They don't like him. Most people questioned him being traded, like questioned us trading for him, because they know most of the players don't like him.
Right.
Like that is a known fact. That is known. Like
Lance Hendrickson said that.
Like that is a known fact. Like now he kind of gotten a lot of people good grace because he got that walk off the first game of the season or second game of the season that, you know, brought that, you know, a walk off is exciting. So
right,
you know, but man, they don't rock with dude like that.
I think, Glenn, you brought up AJ Przinsky. Difference here is that AJ's teammates love him.
Well, true, but if you listen to Ozzy Guillen said, he's like, hey, people on the other teams hate AJ. People on his team hate him a little less.
I don't know. I spent a lot of time in that White Sox clubhouse during that time. The late 2000s there, and they did. They liked him.
Yeah, he had some boys. He had some boys that he rocked with.
Yeah. He had
Rowan
and Paulie and
third baseman.
Preety.
I believe
Preety and those guys. Yeah,
I'm a firm believer. You need a character.
Yes, I
You
agree.
need a character.
Well,
I'm just not a fan of ours because that's what Donaldson is. It's a character. Most teams have a character. When we won in 2009, Nick Swisher was our character. You need a character.
Don't bring that name up.
I'm just saying. He
ain't do
AJ
nothing when he was on the South Side. He ain't do nothing for us, nothing at all. And then he
AJ
got to the Yankees and became the man.
Well, he didn't become the man. I wouldn't go that far.
He was a critical part of that team, though.
He was the character of the team.
So who was that guy on the Cubs team then when they won in 2016? Just since we're here in Chicago, we got to see that kind of up close throughout the season.
Did they have a character?
Contreras, maybe. Would be the story.
Well, he was a rookie. He was. I don't think he was.
I would say
Baez, maybe.
Baez might have been, but
the personality.
But that team,
they're a bunch of nice guys, man.
Well, you know what? I say Jake was the character.
Arrieta, yeah.
Arrieta.
No. Lester. No, not Lester.
Catcher.
No. The other pitcher. Came from the Angels.
You're right.
Angels,
you're right.
Damn, why am I forgetting his name?
John.
I can't think of his name either.
John.
You had John Lester. You had Jake Arrieta. Had Kyle Hendricks, and you had.
I came here to win.
Right. I didn't come here for a haircut. I came for the jewelry. What is his name? Play for the Angels.
Yeah, I know, man. Long time.
I can't think his name.
I thought it wasn't.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I can see his face.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up right
now.
It is
not John Flaherty. What was it?
John Lackey.
Yeah.
John Lackey. I don't remember that. It wasn't that long ago. My memory's bad.
He came and went.
I think he was the character. He was the character of that team.
Yes.
But anyway, So the one, before we let this one go, the 1 game suspension, enough? Too much?
No, I think it's
enough.
I think it's enough because it's hard to really say that that's what it was, but it was disrespectful.
I mean,
and it's a precedent setting at least at this point. You know, you can set. But the problem, however, to some degree, because remember when Tim got suspended for saying the N-word?
Yeah.
This
which was totally out of context.
Right. But it just seems that this, I don't know. MLB was in an awkward spot. I'll put it this way: I was shocked they responded that quickly. That it happened that quickly. I was expecting. I think it was. There was so much steam had been picked up that they had to.
It was the second segment on First Take today.
Yeah,
you know that's something baseball
never. They never talk about it anymore.
Well, you got the two top 3 TV markets. You know, so you got New York, Chicago.
But yeah, I think it was good. And I mean, like I say, the baseball gods, he gets suspended and he got COVID. So
he has COVID.
Out. Yes.
Wow. They're really coming down on him.
Does he? Do you think he really has COVID?
Well, look, they saying he do.
Wow. Okay.
All right. We done brought back up Miguel Andujar. Hopefully my boy get his stuff back together.
So he's gone for what, 10 days? How long is the
maybe 5 to 7, right?
Yeah.
Protocols.
Yeah, because he should be vaccinated.
I was listening. Joe Kelly, reliever for the White Sox, was on the score today. And I guess the word about the suspension had come down right then. And he was like, man, I got 8 games just for looking at a guy wrong. And he was talking about during the pandemic season, you know, they didn't want any bench clearing
brawls, right?
Brawls or anything like that, just because of COVID. They didn't want everybody all up in each other's face. he said, I looked at a guy wrong. They gave me 8 games. What is that?
The adjudication of penalties is really weird. Not just in baseball,
in all of sports.
Yep.
In all of sports.
Hey, I'll just say this. I know we're gonna move on from here, but I just want to say this. Since then, the White Sox are playing ball like they're supposed to play ball. Cueto pitched his ass off. He did a fantastic
2 in a row, by the way.
Shouldn't have brought him in for that last inning, but he pitched his ass off. And Joe Kelly did a great job. The defense is playing way better than they did at the beginning of the year. And Kopech, I mean, to shut out the Yankees like they did that last game, I mean, was great. And then Tim is slowly becoming like a little Yankee, if not Yankee killer. He definitely
No, I think you can say that.
Because I mean that Iowa game, he lowered the boom.
Yeah, that was the only win last year y'all got.
Hey, but I'm just saying,
Nah, I get that. That was on the big stage. Too. That was on the big stage. That is.
And here, the Super doubleheader is hard enough as it is, let alone on the road, and let alone against the Yankees on the road in that environment with the fans being assholes, chanting Jackie, Jackie. See, that's the other thing too. I'm sorry, I know we say we're into this thing. Here's a problem with what Josh Donaldson does, or guys like Josh Donaldson, and if you don't curtail it, it opens the door for other assholes.
Yep.
It really does.
It does.
It gives them life.
Because one thing, being a college baseball player, I know what fans are capable of doing. And the SWAC, as well as at the PWIs, when we would go there, they are ruthless. So they wouldn't have never done that. They wouldn't have been doing that had Donaldson didn't do what he did.
Right.
Now they would Yankee fans are rowdy. I've been there. But they ain't gonna do that until you open that door.
Right. Here's a problem. Josh Donaldson may have, I put that in the air quotes, may have said what he said, frivolously.
But it's a fan out there that really is.
Right. But the fans had enough time to understand why Tim said what he said. They had enough time to digest everything. So for them to do was almost like, I won't say premeditated because I'm not trying to get out legal, but theirs was purposeful, which makes it more problematic or just more, societally problematic. So it's a bit of an issue, but I will say this, and I'll throw a shout out to the White Sox organization. That what they started back in 2007 with the Amateur City Elite program, and since they began it back in 2007, it's provided over 230 scholarships for players, and this is targeted towards inner city and African American youth to try and help revitalize baseball as a sport in our community. And Brandon, you definitely can speak to that because that's part of the program you're affiliated with. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes. I've been with the White Sox for 6 years now with the ACE program. And yeah, like you said, it's centered to, get more Black boys playing baseball, provide them with opportunities that, they wouldn't get in other aspects, around the country, exposing them to major colleges and universities, getting seen. The goal is to get a college education. It's not about getting to the pros. It's about making better young men, by using the game of baseball as a tool. For myself, baseball was a tool for me to get a degree. I'm not going to sit here and say I was the most studious person, but I use sports as a tool. And that's what the White Sox is providing. It's a free program. If you know anything about travel baseball, it's very expensive. And, the White Sox provide everything for the kids, as far as uniforms, equipment, all that. They don't necessarily, have to, come out of their pocket for anything except, travel. And that's it, but yeah, it's an amazing program. We got a few guys that are in the farm systems around Major League Baseball. Got a bunch of guys in college, go from 12U to 17U. So we get them at pups, and let them go when it's time to go off into the real world and really let their wings go, but it's a beautiful thing, man. And I'm grateful to be a part of this, the organization. I wish it was around when I was playing, that's one of the main things, to have these kids really don't understand how lucky they are for a program like this.
And you said in the past Tim Anderson is really involved with
yes, he's very involved with that. If you've checked out his documentary on YouTube, he's featuring the stage program all through that thing. Like I'm watching, I'm like, man, Man, he got the ACE program all through this. Just little shots here and there, not even necessarily saying, it's the ACE program, just making it like something he's a part of.
Right.
It's not like it's not like he's separating, this Chicago White Sox ACE program and I'm going to go there and help out. Like, no, it's like he's syncing it all together. Like, I'm a White Sox player and this is what I'm involved with. Like, and he's done great things for the kids. He's always around. He spoke at I want to say we do a signing day every year. Of course, haven't really done one since COVID. The last one was Ed Howard's signing day before him getting drafted. That was the last signing day we had. And Tim Anderson actually spoke at the signing day. So like he's very visible. I'll say that. Very visible. He's a down-to-earth guy, and I'm a huge fan of him. Yes, this Yankees fan is a huge fan of another shortstop. Not named Derek Jeter.
Not Jeter. Not number two.
Not number two,
So that's how you handle the Josh Donaldsons of the world, man.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Programs like that.
Hey, let's move on. Let's talk about some NBA playoffs. We're in the conference finals now. Excuse me, the conference finals now. We got one series that looks like it's over, and we got one series that looks like it could go to distance.
It's definitely gonna go to distance.
Let's start with Miami and Boston. As we speak right now, Boston is whooping Miami's tail in game 4. So it looks like it's going to be 2-2 going into game 5. It's amazing. I was talking to Smoke before we got on. It's amazing to me how there's just this pendulum swing where you can go from losing by 20 to winning by 30.
Right.
That's incredible to me.
Man, it's crazy. It is crazy because after game 2, the way Boston beat Miami in game 2, you watch all the sports shows. They like, man, there's no way Miami comes back. You don't get beat by 35 on your home floor. Like, there's no chance.
Creatures of the moment.
And then first game in Boston, they go crazy. Now, I will say this. Whoever wins this series, I don't see winning the finals.
Really?
You don't think they don't have any shot?
And hear me and listen to me when I say this. Are y'all seeing the way these guys are falling like flies?
Yeah.
They're going to be beat up when the finals come. That's why I say that. It's not because I don't think either team has the talent to do it.
And the Warriors are going to be well rested.
Exactly. I mean, you look at the injury reports for these teams. It's crazy. It's like, what is going on here?
It's like a football game.
What?
Yeah,
man. It's gonna be interesting to see how it play out. I'm interested to see what game 5 brings. I mean, hey, does it stay on Boston's side or do it swings the other way like it's been doing all?
I think it does what you said. I think it just swings the other way. Whoever wins, then expect the other team to win the next time. For me personally, with this series, I expected to go 7 off the bat because of both teams' defensive acumen, how they get after everybody. I think, the Heat's a little more physical in how they do it, but I think Boston is tenacious in their own way. And Boston has some length, even though they're not a real big team per se. They've got some long arms and they've got some quickness, and they get in there. And they're probably a bit more skilled. Not like there's not some great gap, but maybe a bit more skilled and a little more finesse oriented than the Heat. But the Heat, they will grind you, man. They will grind you and they will grind out wins, and they're used to doing that. So it's not like it's something that's a departure from them. That's who they are. That's their DNA. I was just really impressed with Boston in this playoff, and actually the last part of the season going into the playoffs, just how more defensive oriented they became, and their mindset and committing to that. They never really committed to that before. It's why they would always lose in the first, second round.
Mm-hmm.
But like what you said, Brandon, like I didn't think nobody's gonna be left, man. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be Grant Williams and Pritchard,
right?
starters, and Daniel Thies, it's gonna be your starters against, the 3-time champion Golden State Warriors. So good luck with that.
Ty's has been balling, man.
Yeah, but not when you got to play, extended minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, and
I still, by the way, I'll still I'm gonna bring this to the Bulls. I still don't believe they didn't bring him back.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Yeah, it's weird too.
He couldn't have cost that much.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a thought. But anyway, let's go back to the series.
Nah, so but I mean, hey, man, to me, that's must see TV right there. That series, just because of it's got some star power, but just the way these guys get after each other. And like you say, you don't know. You can't go in thinking that hey, Boston's gonna win it because they won at the other game. They won decisively the night before. No, Miami's got a good shot.
It's a different day. Different day.
Yeah. Yeah, like momentum's last shot.
Yeah.
Now the other series, this is basically this is the last shot for Dallas. I mean you got Doncic doing what you guys said he does before. When Luka just scores 40 and nobody else seems to be doing anything else. But I don't put that on Luka. I kind of put that on the teammates. They've kind of, I don't know if they shrunk or
I mean
they're tired chasing.
When you go 0 for 15 between Kleber and what's the name? Bullock. They went combined 0 for 15 that last game. Yeah. Can't overcome that versus a team like the Warriors.
No.
Now I will say when they blew that lead game 2, that's when I knew it was a wrap.
Yeah, that's the one they should have won.
You can't lose that game. Can't lose that game. And so it's tough now. You ain't coming back from 3-0.
No, not 3-0. That's never happened in the history of the sport. And that's a lot of odds.
That's a lot of odds.
But the Red Sox did it once, though. But
there you go. But that was a securely talented team playing. No, but
I'm sorry, Smoke. I just had to throw that out there.
But Dallas isn't that super talented. I mean, like they would need to have 3 superstars to maybe even have me consider them coming back. Kind of like when Cleveland came back from the 3-1. I know it's not 3-0, but 3-1 is almost just as bad, especially in the finals. But you had 3 superstars, so you got a shot. You had Kyrie, you had LeBron, and on the lower lip you had no Love. So I look at Dallas and it's Luka. That's pretty much it as far as stars go. You've got some nice players around you, and it's okay if you 2-1 or down 1-2, but to be down 0-3.
No, that's too much.
And your superstar is playing like one. It doesn't matter.
This series reminds me of the late '80s Bulls.
I'm thinking the same thing.
That's what it reminds you. You got Mike,
a bunch of guys
who has to put up, and then a bunch of guys that pieces, but just not enough to get over the great teams.
Yeah, not ready for prime time yet.
Yeah. And that's where we are right now. But Luka, I mean, I know he had a rough game 1,
right?
But games 2 and 3, he went for 40, man.
Yeah, game 2 is the one they really should have won. Yeah, and it's not like Golden State doesn't have a history of coming back, but this isn't that Golden State team. I mean, those Golden State teams were different. Those Golden State teams are the ones that you talk about in terms of greatest all-time type kind of teams. This team is still figuring out who they are, or reconfiguring who they are. You know what I mean? You still got some of the same names, but Clay is still rounding into form. He's not where he was, and Steph isn't as consistently deadly as he used to be. It's still really better than most of everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And you got new guys kind of finding their way. So this team is still kind of evolving in a way. But
they're still young, man.
Well, they're not aged. and they haven't been in the finals in a few years. So
what's that? Steph is what, 32?
32.
Yeah.
Draymond and Clay 30.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, no, I mean they're
They got 5 more years, man.
They're not on the upswing of their prime. They're like the leveled off.
They're at
prime.
They can still win titles.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, but they're still kind of reconfiguring who they are because Clay's been out for a couple of years, and Jordan Peele, he's a new guy, and they're incorporating him, and Wiggins is a new guy, incorporating him, and so to me, they're still a donut hole in the middle to some degree, but there's no team that has really put them to the task, really. And Phoenix should have done that with Ayton, but they just didn't. And of the teams remaining, there really isn't a team that has any kind of dominating, post play at all. Really, I mean, Adebayo, Bam he's nice, but he's not some defense. He's just not. He's not Embiid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's an athletic, moving, big man. But yeah, so Golden State with the Heat and Boston being beat up, I'm with you, Smoke. Whoever gets there from the East just might not have enough bodies to outlast. Golden State's gonna run you.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna run you. And they're good defensively too. That's the thing too. People really do snooze and kind of forget that Golden State is a pretty decent defensive team. They're not the greatest of all time, but they're definitely not the worst of all time.
And I kind of think the way Boston plays, because I think Boston is eventually going to be the one to come out of that series. I think the way they play, because Golden State is more of a perimeter defense heavy team. Right. Boston wants to shoot a lot of threes. I think that kind of feeds into Golden State's hands a little bit better than anything else. So we'll see.
I think a healthy Boston could possibly beat Golden State in a 7-game series, but we're not going to see that team.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see it. That's my thing. I picked them to win it after they beat Milwaukee, but I'm like, man, they going down. I mean, Robert Williams can't stay in the lineup. That ankle injury that Smart suffered in the last game. I mean, he's playing. I mean, but I know that's going to eventually mess with him. Whatever that was with Tatum with his shoulder, like that's something to keep an eye on. Like they just getting nicked up, beaten, bruised. So we'll see. And the way Looney has done stepped up for Golden State, he's been like an unsung hero. Like he's been a monster in the paint. Like, so we'll see.
The Wiggins dunk on Luka.
Nasty.
That was nice.
Nasty.
Where does that rank in the history of posterizations?
I don't know if it's in the history. It's on the low end because Luka was kind of moving out of the way at the same time. And then Luka kind of tried to flop and make it look like he got hit in the eye to draw a foul.
And them calling the offensive foul initially took away the buzz a little bit.
Right.
That was some bull crap.
It ain't
yeah, why did they I don't even know why they called the foul. That's what it was. You guys should see what Glenn is referencing right now.
Hey, all I did was just show the flat palm of my hand. I don't know what you mean.
I don't know about that.
Really?
Well,
really? Who's Luka? Who's Luka to the league?
Baby Bird.
Who's Wiggins?
Or as Skip called him, Baby Sparrow. That's so funny.
Baby Sparrow.
That is so funny to me.
Oh man, that was sick, man.
Yeah, that was nasty.
That was nasty. But to me, I still like Kevin Johnson's dunk on Akeem.
On Akeem, yeah, that was pretty nasty. That same weekend was Pippen over Ewing. That was the same weekend.
Ewing?
Yeah,
Pippen over Ewing's up there. Doc over Michael Cooper. The way he just came down.
Yeah.
That's an all-time classic. Mike's non-dunk was probably better than Wiggins' dunk.
What are you talking about?
The layup, the
Lakers.
Yeah, it's like the dunk that should have been the layup that should have been a dunk when he came through up the middle. That was better than Wiggins' dunk over Luka.
Yeah, it was more so the fact that Wiggins. I mean, like you said, Luka was trying to actually jump out the way,
right?
And Wiggins caught him at the tail end.
He caught him just enough.
Now, if Luka would have just tried to go straight up,
now
and that happened,
that changes everything.
My God, yeah. That would have been like DeAndre Jordan catching Brandon Knight on the alley oop.
Hey, sticking with Wiggins here though. What does his development in Golden State say about their organization? Because he was putting up some stats in Minnesota, but he wasn't, looked at as a guy, man. He's the
same player.
You think so?
Yeah,
so what's the difference? What's the difference then?
Expectations.
Yep, expectations, accountability, and the players around you.
When you ain't relied upon to be the guy, everything flows a little easier. He's doing nothing different that he wasn't doing in Minnesota. But the expectations from the world was different. He was the number one pick. You expected him to be a superstar. He's still not a superstar in Golden State. No. He's a role player that was drafted number 1 overall. He's a very good.
He's a 20 point per game of 20 point per game.
That's what I said. He's a very good role player that was drafted number 1 overall. So the talent has always been there. It was always there. He's doing nothing different. It's just the expectations change. And he has better guys around him where he doesn't have to be the guy. He can just play basketball.
And they hold him accountable more than the other teams he was at would, because they're like, no, you need to do this. And he's going to listen because it's not his team. Like you said, expectations are different, accountability levels are different, and responsibilities are different. Like you say, he's a very high end role player. He's like, it's like drinking Coke in a crystal glass. It's just. I mean, he's probably in like the best spot for his development at this stage in his career, because he was going to go nowhere but either down or just flow aimlessly throughout his career. Here, now he has purpose, as they say. And that purpose is being fulfilled. And you see that in his rise and his confidence level. I will say this, he's the same player, but I think he's playing more confidently. Because
less pressure though.
Less pressure. He's in a better situation. And he's starting to, he's taking, he was made the All-Star team this year, so it's not like he sucked, you know what I'm saying? But you see that confidence in the way he dunked. We haven't seen him make those kind of dunks in a long time. I think somebody said, like, that's high school Wiggins, going back to where he was yoking on food. I mean, this is the dude that, coming out of Kansas, everybody thought they were going to see, and what's Wiggins like? What, 26 maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So he's, I'll tell you what, Golden State has an eye for talent. They're in an advantageous situation because their superstars were very young when they began winning as a group, so they know how to win, and they've gone through adversity, and they've come through the other side. But they've got some young talent around them. Poole, if Wiseman can stay healthy, that'll be a nice piece, maybe going forward. And Wiggins, they've got some young guys that can kind of keep it going until they find, another player or two. Once the other guys start, fading into anonymity, not anonymity, but so they start fading into their retirement stages. So but that's years away, like you said. These guys aren't ancient. I mean, they're 30 and 32, but they're probably like 32 and 34 in terms of their bodies because of what they've been through. But that's still not. Oh, and then keep in mind that the basketball, the way it's played, is not nearly as aggressively body, wrecking as it was back in the 90s when the physicality would really, tear into you. So, yeah, I think these guys can play for another 3 years at a high level as a team.
By the way, the Heat in Game 4, the starting five combined for 18 points. They shot 7 of 36 from the field.
Oh Lord,
that's not good. That's not good. Hey, by the time we record our next show, who's gonna be in the finals?
Golden State, Boston,
Miami Heat, Golden State.
I'm going with the Miami Heat.
Oh man,
and Golden State. Even though they didn't play too well in Game 4.
No, I mean, but that's them though. I tell you what, they don't care about that.
Yeah.
You know, when I say they don't care, it's not weighing on them.
Now the question is Jimmy right though? Well, I didn't watch the game, but one of my boys was saying Jimmy just looked like he's out there. But also somebody said, I think it was Charles Barkley that said Game 3 is going to hunt Boston like crazy because Jimmy Butler was able to rest the second half because he's hurt. And he like, if I'm Miami, I damn near don't even play him Game 4 because we're up in the series. If we lose, we 2-2. And my boy said it looked like Jimmy was just out there, not even really playing, just on the floor. Like, so it's like,
well, he sat the entire fourth quarter of Game 4. So
remind me, it's a knee bruise.
It was a bone bruise. He had inflammation. It was a knee inflammation. That's why he didn't return Game 3.
So that sounds like pain tolerance. So it sounds like some anti-inflammatories,
drain
bed
the
rest.
knee.
Yep, and shoot them up with something else.
I've had a knee drain. It actually feels really good after you get it done.
Oh, okay. Well,
yes.
I think it'll be enough to get you to the finals. I don't. If his knee isn't right for the finals, they got no shot.
All right, let's leave it there. Let's go to our final topic of the night, and we're gonna go into our GM's wheelhouse here.
More personalities. People versus people. Love it when it's people versus people.
Nick Saban talking about well, I guess it came out as his disdain for NILs and trying to pump up business leaders in the Birmingham and Alabama community to give more money to the NIL situation, and he sort of dimed out a couple of teams, saying that they bought all their play. Well, in Texas A&M's situation, they bought all of their recruiting class from this year, the number one recruiting class in the country, and then put out there that Deion and Jackson State paid Travis Hunter $1 million to go there.
You know, it's amazing how salty Nick Saban can be when he's winning every fucking thing.
Exactly.
You know, and you got the number 2 class. It's not like you got the number 22 class. You know, you got the number 2 class behind A&M, and you lost to Jimbo Fisher last year with his backup quarterback. You know, A&M had a backup quarterback when they beat Bama last year. So, you know, he's just crying to be crying. Now, yes, A&M, Texas A&M has 8 5-star recruits that they got, more than what they had on their team combined last year. Okay, so yeah, I'm sure that they've said whatever they did in their recruiting to convince the young men to come to their school. Now, the thing with the NILs, which is name, image, and likeness, the issue with that is because clearly it's not like you buy in players per se, because the players are allowed to be able to, you know, create a brand and benefit from that fiscally or financially. The problem is, or the way that it's supposed to work is, so the university or employees in the university cannot like compensate or change any compensation deals to a current or prospective student athlete for his or hers NIL. Okay, so they can't say, you know, we promise you this if you come here. Now, once you become a member of that program, then they can help you, but they can't use it to induce you to come to their school. So basically, what Saban is saying is that Jimbo Fisher and his staff are using the NILs to induce, because the Texas guys got all the money and the oil. Everything's bigger in Texas.
I didn't know the schools could help in that regard.
They can't to induce you to come there. But once you're
in, I didn't realize that. I thought you had to go out on your own and
they can help you, but they can't, it's not like they can, put the paper before you and say, sign right here, son. But it's more like they can help you to, and help
seek out.
Right. Help seek out can be like, filter good deals from bad deals, or, hey, coach, how do you think, or what do you know about this particular person? Are they a credible person? Things like that, as opposed to, hey, son, we here at Texas Bob's, Chevrolet says you are the face of our Chevrolet dealership. Why don't you come on down? Jimbo said it'll be okay. That's kind of what Saban is saying that Jimbo Fisher did. Now, Jimbo Fisher is like, you know what, the hell with you. and you're a hypocrite because you're out here trolling for money right now, as you make this
right.
So what is that? And then Jimbo takes it to another level, because you can tell this is super personal. Unlike the Donaldson TA thing where it could be personal, this one's personal. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because you had Jimbo say, all right, go ahead and dig in on how God deals. It's God being Saban, because apparently he walks on water. And he even went further. I mean, he went back.
Call that boy y'all referring him as czar of football.
Right,
he was hot.
He was super hot. Now he said, and I'm gonna quote him. He says this: "You coach with people like Bobby Bowden." That's was a former Florida State, rest in peace, former Florida State head coach. You coach with people like Bobby Bowden and learn how to do things. You coach with other people and learn how not to do things. There's a reason that I ain't went back and worked for him.
I had opportunities.
He was an assistant under him at LSU.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There were opportunities. Don't want to be associated with it. Wow. He said, you can call me anything you want to call me. You ain't calling me a cheat. I don't cheat and I don't lie. I wasn't raised that way. And if I was, I've been slapped upside the head by my daddy. Maybe somebody should have slapped him upside his head.
Like, man, all he had to say is, come on now. I had Jameis Winston, the quarterback that was stealing crab legs. You telling me I couldn't pay for that boy to get some crab legs?
Right.
I was doing some illegal stuff.
And that's the thing. It's like, I haven't done anything illegal. And I, whether he has or hasn't in his past, I don't know. But you can tell he was personally offended, because he's like, of all the people to be saying I did something illegal.
Yeah.
Well, you can ask other coaches. He threw everybody else under the bus. You go ahead and ask other coaches how God does his deals. You might not want to know. So he just put it back on blast. It was beautiful. Beautiful thing to say.
I mean, somebody pointed out how Tua and his whole family moved from beautiful Hawaii
exactly
to go live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Really?
Come on, man.
Stop.
It's a little suspicious. A little suspicious.
That's very suspicious. Very. But I wasn't even. I honestly could care less about them rich people problems. but don't start coming for the small people, because you lost on one goddamn recruit.
One player. Travis Hunter.
That's where I got hot.
I was listening to ESPN 1000 the day that all this came down. And one of the I forget who said it now, but he said that Nick Saban's disdain shouldn't be for Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. More of it should be at Jackson State.
The hell?
And I'm like, what?
How does that even make any sense?
Why? They get one guy.
One guy. Yeah, if they had two guys.
And now all hell's broken loose. Come on now.
Who the hell said that?
That's what I'm saying. I forget who said it. Was on ESPN 1000, their nighttime show. One of the younger guys on that they had.
But that's when they really come to light.
Right.
Well, the funny thing is, Travis Hunter kind of replies. I think it was on his Twitter account or something
on
like
his
that.
Twitter.
Instagram. Yeah, he's like, so really? So we got 3 beds for 5 kids in my family's house, but somehow we got $1 million.
We got $1 million, and we live in the same house now. Okay,
interesting.
Deion say,
Good for
I
him.
ain't even making $1 million. I'm
That's
gonna give him $1 million.
My mother-in-law is actually an alum of Jackson State. She's heavily involved with with their alumni association fundraising and all that. And so I asked this I was like, man, y'all pay that boy to come there? They said, are you serious? She's like, we don't have no money. There's no way. No way. At least Jackson State was able to find $1 million to give him to come to Jackson State. Now, maybe, the rumor about Barstool, but I doubt that. Why would Barstool pay him $1 million to go there? They not generating that much money from Jackson State.
But even if they were, so the hell what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
The point is,
the
NILs are here. That's the reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
And if this allows young men and women to choose universities more so based on not just the notoriety of the school, but also culturally, academically, collectively, what it has to offer for these young student athletes, while they can still put something in their pockets in case they can't make it to the professional level, but they can still not only get the education they want, but also get the cultural, fulfillment that they're looking for at this stage in their lives, so be it. Or even if it's just for the money, so be it. It's like, you don't have to justify good, noble reasons to get paid. It's like, why is that the case? It's like, no one bats an eye when Lincoln Riley, who leaves Oklahoma, former head coach of the University of Oklahoma, leaves Oklahoma to goes to USC. And all of a sudden, now Caleb Williams, who was quarterback in Oklahoma, goes to USC. He transfers. Mario Williams from Oklahoma, receiver, transfers. You get one of the top
receivers from Pittsburgh.
Right, exactly. Jordan Addison transfers. Like, dude, you were an All-American at Pitt. You were the Biletnikoff Award winner, which is the highest honor given to a wide receiver in college, a collegiate wide receiver. You won the Biletnikoff Award. Why are you leaving Pittsburgh? I don't know. I want to go cross country to USC. No one bats an eye. It's okay when there's it. But if Deion Sanders or anybody else from HBCU is able to convince an athlete or athletes to come to their universities, everybody wants to raise holy hell like there's something wrong with that. You know what, man? Y'all know what that is. Y'all know what that is. And, damn them. And the hell with that. And the HBCUs, hey, and these young players and athletes, get what you can for yourself and for your family, and do you, because everyone else is trying to benefit off your back. You should be the one benefiting off your back first and foremost.
Absolutely.
I've said over and over, if us as a people want to see change, our athletes start going to our schools and watch how they show their face.
It didn't take very long.
And we just had it. Just one did it. Just one did it. Man, I hate to see if a flock of them was to do it. Oh my God.
I can't wait. I'm hoping this works out the way we want it to, because I can see a day that a lot more will make that move. I hope so.
Oh, but you trust before that happens, all of a sudden regulations will start coming in about what who can and who can't. And you'll see who it affects initially more so, who is more so hindered by it than helped by it. Right. And I guarantee you it will be, who the victims will be in that situation.
All right. There you have it. That'll do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I want to thank you for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch our podcast at Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also catch us at hp53productions.com. There you'll find a link to our podcast, as well as the Super Duper podcast hosted by Rob Griggs, and the Father Good podcast hosted by Marshall Givens and Kenny Stevenson. And you might catch me on the Super Duper podcast every once in a while. With that, yo, Glenn.
Yep.
Please take us out.
Hey, right quick. October 8th, Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban showdown, by the way.
Oh, baby. Alabama, Texas A&M.
Definitely gotta watch that one.
Can't wait. Can't wait. But hey, like we always say, we ain't saying we're right, but we sure as hell ain't Josh Donaldson or Nick Saban wrong.
We'll catch you next week.